So I want to share there's basic human attachment needs from the secure relationship on Instagram. And the first is to feel wanted, valued, appreciated, emotionally supported. The second is to know you can get it right for your partner. The third is to know your needs matter to your partner. And the fourth is to know you can trust your partner and that your partner trusts you. And the fifth is to know your partner will be there when you need them. Now, what happens when you don't? For example, so I want to share about wise speech, because let's say you don't get your way, or let's say you're angry, and let's say it's not just your partner. Let's say it's in your friendship, your coworker, any of them, and they're not there when you need them, or they don't make you feel wanted, valued, appreciated, emotionally supported, or they don't make you feel you got it right, or that your needs don't matter, or that you can trust them, or they can trust you. And so sometimes we might feel like we don't have the wisdom, the access to the wholesomeness that will allow us to speak clearly. So I want to share from a book called Recovery Dharma. It's called Wise Speech, and page 33. So wise speech is based on the intention to do no harm, not engaging in any manner of speech that may cause harm. Some examples are lying to keep others from knowing what's really going on, gossiping with the intention to put someone down or satisfy the desire to be recognized, stealing, quote unquote, stealing time and attention by chattering on and on, or trying to convince others to meet our needs at the expense of their own. The foundation of wise speech is honesty and truthfulness. And we have to realize dishonesty is not just outright lies. It can be in the form of exaggeration or minimizing, omitting, all with the intention of presenting a false picture or distorting what something actually is. Plus, we might say more than we know to be true, in the hopes of appearing smarter or more confident in our position or feeling. Sometimes we say something before we know the truth. Dishonesty has to do with our intention in speech. The invitation is, are we motivated by greed, fear, confusion, or are we motivated by a sincere desire to express what's true, useful, kind, and timely? Wise speech means we speak with the intention of not causing harm and of fostering safety and security in our community. Dishonesty can be white lies to avoid embarrassment or exposure, or half-truths to keep from getting caught, or seemingly harmless things said at the expense of others. When somebody's considered to be in active addiction, in other words, they're not living a life in recovery, basically, they're living a double life. So a person can develop the habit, God forbid, chas v'shalom, of dishonesty, where there's lies to cover up or mislead others about the nature and extent of the using and behavior. Because addiction is like isolation and shame and doing something we're not supposed to and avoiding what we think God's will might be for us, and self-will. And by self-will, I mean not being able, very self-centered. And so the person wants to satisfy cravings that the fixation feeds, and therefore hiding actions, hiding feelings, or even the amount of money and effort put into satisfying the craving. Many just lie for the sake of lying because the truth represents a reality intolerable. Trapped by secrets, for many, the double life becomes an addiction all its own. This is why honesty is foundational to recovery. Dishonesty is one of the habits that allows addictive behaviors to flourish. As a result, recovery needs to start with an honest appraisal of exactly what lies were told and what dishonesty we had spread, God forbid, in our addictive behavior. In addition to truthfulness, wise speech has more guidelines. It includes avoiding slander and gossip, recognizing such unwise speech causes conflict and makes the community less safe. So when we talk about others, we can ask ourselves, what is the intention? To divide and exclude? To cause shame and embarrassment? To make ourselves look better at someone else's expense? It's possible to talk about others with the intention of kindness, generosity, and compassion, to seek understanding or support for another. Gossip and slander, for example, do not do this. Instead, they cause harm. Similarly, chatter and saying things just to be heard, just to be recognized, or to take up time when we're uncomfortable, can lead to people actually dismissing and ignoring us, and may actually create impatience and intolerance in our community. Wise speech also involves the tone we use when we talk. If we express ourselves in harsh, angry, or abusive ways, we may not be heard even if we're being truthful. Speaking gently with the intention of kindness fosters a community of friendliness and safety. It may sound like wise speech is primarily about discerning whether not to speak, but this is not always the case. Many grew up in families where it was not safe to talk openly about thoughts and feelings. Some, because of certain experiences and cultural conditioning, have been taught that we don't have permission to use our voices. For many of us, it could be that practicing wise speech may mean learning how to use our voices that had been silenced, how to wisely communicate the needs and boundaries we've gotten used to keeping hidden. Many of us, in an effort to be liked or for fear of rocking the boat, have favored being nice over being honest and true to ourselves. But wise speech teaches us that speaking up, even when it's hard, is sometimes the wise choice, and that speech is never truly kind if we cause harm to ourselves. A final part of wise speech is careful listening. We must listen with compassion, understanding, and receptivity. I'm going to read that line again. We must listen with compassion, understanding, and receptivity. It can be really helpful to observe how much of the time we spend listening to someone else is actually spent judging them or planning what we're going to say in response. Deep listening without selfishness or agenda is an act of generosity that lets us build true connection. Yes, so we're going to stop there. And I wish everybody a good week, a blessed week. All the best. Bye.